Hello everybody, we are back for our second series of the day. We have 100 Thieves Challengers taking on TSM Challengers right around the corner. And once again, I am happy to be guesting on the day with Magical and Beatdown. I also just ran over here because I was preparing a bit for the halftime show, so I'm a little out of breath. Beatdown, I'm going to pass it to you as we head on over to take a look at the TSM roster and the players. Who are you most excited for on this team of kind of star-studded veterans coming into the league?
I'm going to be real. It isn't any of the star-studded veterans, personally. I mean, we got to give credit to Hanser. He's been playing well.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Magical. It's not Rocks. It's Doc.
Oh.
I mean, we've been talking about it since week one, day one, or day two is technically when they had their first match. But he's a player who I think a lot of us keeping an eye on semi-pro, especially over the last 2 years or so. He's an exciting one. It's his first time playing at this level. I even got to talk to him just to get a feel for how he has been transitioning, and he says though it's been difficult, he's loving being, of course, on the Challengers team, feels the improvement with all the practice that they do, and feels like it's going to help him become a much better player. And I mean, realistically, him, like many others, is trying to prove that they can win these big tournaments and prove that they can go pro.
I would agree with you until I heard the Svenskeren interview. Did you actually catch that interview, Beatdown, or Magical, either of you?
What was it?
So Joshi asked Svenskeren the hard-hitting, honest question of, you've been at the LCS in the past, and now you're at the Challengers League level, what used to be kind of the academy, now called semi-pro level. What's keeping you in the game? What is your goal? And he said, look, I want to be LCS, but if you're not an LCS, this is the option. This is where you have to compete to make that jump. And even talking to Rox, I checked in with him on Twitter just because he's subbing in. Svenskeren's a player that brought Rox in, or reached out to Rox initially to see if he was available to sub for the team while they're still waiting for Dragku to come in. So I feel like Svenskeren and even Hanser, to an extension of that, are players where even though they have a lot of experience, they also have a lot of drive, a lot of hunger to get to the LCS again, and you can't discredit them for playing on a Challengers team, because what other options would they have outside of just trying to grind solo queue, right?
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, and I think they definitely deserve a lot of praise for that regard.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's take a look at the roster, of course, because we've already been talking about them. TSM Challengers on your screen now. Doxa, the only player that does not have a photo, of course, Rock subbing in right now. But the mainstays in the LCS ecosystem are, of course, present here. Mm-hmm. Magical, we got mine and Beatdown's opinions of the players to look out for. Who do you have in your sights?
I mean, after the performance yesterday, gotta shout out Rox, because he's definitely been doing a good job as temp sub. Played for Converse University beforehand, hasn't had very much experience yet, still performing very well. But really, Hanser, Svenskeren, those are the two that I think are getting most of the attention, especially Hanser, because he's been playing out of his mind in that top
carrying.
lane.
They're hard carrying a lot of these games, but their opponents today, 100 Thieves Challengers, as we take a look at their roster, will be pretty tough to get through, because they also are packing a star-studded lineup, mainly for different reasons. We're going to talk about the top half of the map later, so let's start with the mid to bottom half of the map here. Pretty is a player, Magical, that has been in the Academy ecosystem for quite a while, had one game opportunity at LCS, might have done a little bit of feeding, but still has been on all of our radar as a player to watch out for, because he could make that jump back to LCS.
Pretty is one of these players, especially on control mages, that seems to be his wheelhouse. When he's allowed that comfort zone, he absolutely pops off. Unfortunately, sometimes he does have some performance issues, as a lot of players trying to get used to the bigger stage will have. It's a tough thing to try to jump from Academy, now Challengers League, up until the LCS. But he's someone I do have confidence. He's had a rocky start to the split so far. I do think that he's going to bounce back into the season, look a lot stronger as we continue forward, and he gets more practice under his belt.
And we have not even talked about Unforgiven, coming in all-pro LEC AD carry, behind Doublelift at the LCS level. But, of course, we'll have more time to talk about him, because what we want to highlight in this matchup in particular is the top half of the map. I teased it before, so let's get into that right now. Sniper and Yukino versus Hanser, Svenskeren, who have been carrying a lot of the TSM Challengers games. Look at the discrepancy in experience
Hold on.
between these players.
We're not going to use the word discrepancy, Kangan.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
vetoing that.
I
The
agree.
purpose of this is
How about
to,
comparison?
yeah,
Is that a
sure.
better word?
I think I can live with that. I think the point of this is that you have a very young topside in Sniper and Yukino. Sniper, I mean, everyone who's been paying attention to this level of play has known about him for years. Excited for him to finally join competitive fives last year. Yukino also just joined competitive fives last year, starting out in the Proving Ground system before it changed to what we have now. And of course, they're playing up against Hanser and Svenskeren, two players who I think so far on this roster, of course, are playing quite well in challengers, but also the fact that these guys have insane experience in the LCS. It's kind of like like a difference, a showdown between different generations. You know, old guard versus new blood.
And you can even see that, like, looking at the clips, Hotzer especially, his positioning, his knowledge of how to be on the map, where he needs to be at the exact moment he needs to, is something that I think is going to be a good test against some of these, you know, younger players, against Sniper and Yukino, two players that we're all really hyped about. You know, 16-year-old rookies coming into this and still being talk of the town. They have to face off against such a strong lineup in Hanser and Svenskeren, and I think that this is a perfect time for them to prove themselves of why we've been talking about them so damn much.
Yeah, the jungle top combo from TSM has been the standout performers consistently for this team over the first couple of days of the season. I do want to also give shout out to Doxa, especially that Cassidy game had a pretty good performance on that individually, but now on the opposite side of the rift. Let's start talking about 100 Thieves because we hyped it up. Very young players. Specifically, Sniper is the one that a lot of people have their eyes on, but Beatdown Yukino also, I think, has a lot of hype. Maybe not as much just because he has been pushed as hard from the org side, but definitely worth talking about.
Absolutely, and I mean, Yukino is someone who started off on no team last year, which was a team that was playing in the Proving Grounds qualifiers, subbed for one team, and then immediately joined Evil Genius Prodigies when they had an affiliate roster back then as well. And since then, he got picked up, he had some good performances, and he is back here now in the Challenger system, which is a big jump for him, of course, first time at his level being a newer player, but I think something a lot of us watching last year expected.
And I remember talking to folks that were around the qualifiers for Proving Grounds last year, saying Yukino is one of those junglers to watch out for. Now at this level, obviously, the scouts at 100 Thieves agreed. So, with that said, I'm hearing the pick and ban is ready for game number 1, the top lane matchup. The experience comparison between the two.
There you go.
Beatdown.
That's more
I'm gonna
like
pass it over to the two of you to get us into game 1.
Watching you, Candace.
See, I don't even know if I like comparison. I feel like it just, looking at these two sides, it's just a tale of two cities, right? We have the good side, the bad side, the young and the old, the veterans versus the inexperienced. It's more so on the latter one because I think both sides of the equation are really strong. And that's why I'm really interested to see how Sniper and Yukino will fight against Hanser and Svenskeren, especially as we get into the draft. We already see an early Renekton ban aimed at Hanser.
Yeah, Hanser usually doesn't get that champion. I think one game so far since this tournament has started has it not been banned, and of course he immediately did pick it. That's something that teams in general that just don't want to allow him to have, and that's probably just going to stay that way for a while.
To me, Hanser is on the same path as Dokla. He's got to prove himself again and try to crush all competition in his way to prove that he deserves to be back into the LCS. And like you talked about with that Renekton, definitely making a good showcase for that. But the rest of the draft has been primarily focused around jungles and bot lane from TSM, taking out 3 marksmen, leaving up Zeri, which is a bit surprising. Same with Varus, which is something we could see that Unforgiven might go for. But I'm curious if it's going to be that or if they're just going to grab their support instead.
I think it's going to be an 80 carry, probably, and it's going to end up being the Zeri. Right. So we might see Wild Turtle end up picking up the Varus in response here. They could just be looking for the Zeri Yuumi. We saw it previously, game 1 of our last series. Things worked out really well there for Array at the time. And now, Unforgiven is trying to replicate some of that success. And I mean, as a player, like we keep talking about it because it was surprising that he would come here after being first All-Pro in the LEC last summer, but wants to play in North America, and this is his chance.
It is his chance to prove himself. And I'm actually curious because we just saw not the Yuumi taken last time, but the Braum in that bot lane.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So
cool.
I liked that a lot better. I think that was a much more fun flair to it. It struggled in lane at first, but they got that early kill. It ended up paying dividends for them. But bot lane, whoa! Samira locked in for Wild Turtle.
What? That's kind of cool. I'm here for that.
Yeah,
the
me
problem
too.
Is that can happen. Or that.
I think the Poppy.
I think it's Poppy. I mean, I would love the Nunu. That would be hilarious. But I think Poppy is probably going to be a good answer. But instead, Yukino plays a lot of Wukong.
He does, but I would have liked the Poppy just because it's good against both the Vi and against Samira.
Yeah, I do agree with that. But this, I think, is going to end up working too because you still have a lot of teamfight prowess. You're still a danger at melee range. And that's kind of the problem that Samira has, where she's very short range. She wants to get up very close. And when you're playing into Yuumi, Azeri, that is a little dangerous to be going for. But they clearly have a plan, and I'm very interested.
Yeah, the cat get fixed. We can ignore that one. Talk about the exciting pickups. Let's just this bot lane. And I like that. The Nautilus take in to Yuumi.
Exactly.
A slight counter towards Yuumi because of how you're able to pull Yuumi, especially as she's mid-dash trying to get on top of Zeri. I'm really interested to see how this bot lane will play out because we haven't really gotten to talk much about Wild Turtle this split. He's been there. He's been performing pretty decently. But this time is really his time especially against the LEC All-Pro ADC in Unforgiven.
And especially because Unforgiven, since he came right out the gate, has been having some really good performances as well. So there's a lot to play. There's a lot to play up against this Wild Turtle, especially in this matchup we don't see very often. Very aggressive, all about the all-in. Vi, Samira, Nautilus, and TSM Challengers. They're playing for the team fight, and that's why you see the Fiora taken away. Maybe they want a Cassante, give Doxa that last pick, and also remove a really strong side lane option.
Well, that's why I would expect possibly that Cassante to be the last ban by 100 challengers at the moment, because that just makes more sense, denying some power for Hanser. But Hanser's also got a very deep champion pool. Gnar is something that he's very, very well proficient at playing. So they leave open Cassante and Gnar, taking that Jax away.
So that's interesting. You see the Jax ban come through. Maybe Sniper wants to play Gnar on that top side because it's likely going to be the Cassante lock-in for Hanser. We've seen Sniper play a few things into it. I think the Darius. The Darius is actually really good.
Oh, please. Yes, no, I'm actually with you on this one.
It's really good into Samira as well.
Yes, it is.
You have to dash it. Please.
Come on.
I
Come on, Cypher. Give it to us.
I need it.
It's good into Cassante. It's good into Samira.
It's
actually really good into Vi. It has so much that it could do. Go back. Rewind. Go back.
No. I mean, that's fine too. Like
it's fine, but I think the Darius just works so well against this comp.
The Darius would have been... Wow, but you know what?
It's not bad. Fine. It's not bad. It's still a good pick.
I actually don't want to get to set. You know, like there's a lot of ways this one works out. I haven't seen this matchup in particular, so that'll be exciting.
Set's pretty good at Cassante, to be honest. He's not going to always crush, but it is going to be more of a skill matchup where Set can win pretty easily if he's able to play aggressively right out of the gates.
Right, and I think the pretty locking in Talia. I think it was said yesterday on broadcast that Pretty is not only a Talia player, he is the Talia player.
Yes,
Last year, when he was on Immortals, during Proving Grounds, they had a better run than any of us expected, and a lot of it was off the back.
I think they lost a single game on Talia. I think that's all they lost when Pretty was playing Talia. They only lost once. Got banned pretty much every game.
Yep.
Because it was also something that could be flexed at the time, which made it even more annoying. Yeah. But let's talk about this mid lane, because Doxa got Kassadin, and we saw what happens with the Kassadin when it's an even game state or you're allowed to free clear in your mid lane. You're not going to get such luxury against a Talia, especially early into the game. It is difficult to contend against Talia's wave clear, as well as you're immobile until level 6, which Pretty is going to thrive with.
I think 100 challengers, just looking at this comp overall, I think the early game, a lot of onus is going to be on them. You're playing into a Kassadin, which means that Pretty is going to have a lot of chances to leave lane, especially post 6 with that Weaver's Wall, and be able to have impact across into the side lanes. And I think that's what you need to do, because I'm looking at how I think these comps are going to work. I think even if Set is a good matchup overall when it comes to team fighting, I think Cassante is the best top laner right now. He offers too much utility, too much value to fights, and the fact that TSM have this fantastic all-in overall, as long as you can keep people off Wild Turtle, he's going to go crazy this game.
We'll see what happens as we load up onto the Rift. It is our second series of the day here on the Path to LCS stream. Make sure, if you want, there is the Challengers League stream happening at the same time. But who wants to change the channel when we possibly have some shenaniganeries level 1?
No, sir, Magical. Here is where you want to be, and if you have a second monitor, like, what's stopping you? What's really stopping you here?
Look at this.
This is the stuff of solo queue. When you go for the event, and you're just like, huh? Where
No,
are they?
passing ships in the night. Oh, unlucky.
Yeah, you could say that. And I mean,
Wait a minute. Unforgiven didn't back. Do they spawn out?
that's got to be some kind of clip.
It's got to.
Don't walk to the tri bush. Walk to the tri bush. That's crazy. They literally see it, and they're like, oh, well, you know what?
Oh, the tragedy. No level 1 fights for me today.
I mean, at least TSM.
For the viewers. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, not for you. Never for you. You yeah. But we'll say you get some early vision down, which is a good thing. You need an idea of where Yukino is going to be. You already know this Wukong is going to be very aggressive this game in particular. You want to guess why, Magical? I want you to guess. Yukino has Ignite.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, it's funny. I was looking at the smites and seeing blue smite for, blue pet for Svenskeren. That's where my attention was. I didn't even realize it was Ignite for Yukino.
You don't know what the jungle monsters' names are, Magical? Shame on you.
Bruh. No. You think I'm a jungler?
Yeah, fair enough.
If I jungle, I play Nasus. There you go. That's all you need to know about my jungling.
We need to keep you out of that
Well,
role.
actually, no. I've been playing Lethality Blitzcrank, too.
Can we ban him, Riot? Are you listening?
Well, it's good. It is actually Lethality
Define
Blitzcrank is
good.
actually, as in, like, I usually get double-digit kills. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Don't ask me what elo.
Yeah, that's more like it.
All right, let's get back to this game, though, because we see a little bit of what we expected from mid lane, right? Pretty getting this advantage against Doxus, shoving in pretty hard. Bot lane, even a bit surprising. I thought that it would be a little bit more of a contentious level 2 fight between Wild Turtle and Unforgiven, but it does seem that 100 Thieves have won in the bot lane. Then top lane, Sniper getting the better end of this trade against Hotzer, where we weren't really sure how the set matchup would work. I thought it would be more of a skill matchup. It does seem to be winning, but now with Unforgiven pretty far up, they are in danger.
Yeah, the push was expected. I think in this matchup, Yuumi level 1, you know how it goes. But
good
they
read.
smell something is wrong. They're like,
They're not even fighting over the cannon here. They want that cannon. There it is. Gonna take it. Flash away, but nice dodge from Unforgiven. Barely able to get the lightning strike over the wall as Unforgiven's taken a lot of damage, but still survives nonetheless.
so that's a big, a big read and a big play. Not having to use either summoner spells is Unforgiven, I think, is super important. That could have been a detrimental gank to the early game of 100 Thieves. But Svenskeren, he's not done, Magical.
No, he wants this. But there's still barrier and flash for Unforgiven. That's going to be the heal for Destiny. Trying their best to skirt, and they can do it! Unforgiven, the LCS All-Pro, and the 1v3 now finds 2 kills for himself. Sure, it's a trade of 1 for 2 in total, because Yuumi did die, but got the kills on the other side.
Yeah, and you only get 1 kill on your jungler. I think that honestly ruins this bottom lane. Hold
and
that thought.
Speaking of ruining lanes right now, Yukino took a lot of damage, but Haunter still dies to Sniper underneath the turret, and the shield will save them.
And it's just all 100 Thieves at 4 minutes, Magical. That bottom lane dive, that was dicey to begin with. But it ends up going horribly wrong, even if Destiny picks up one of the kills. And this replay, it's going to start at the first gank. Svenskeren very cleverly avoiding a good ward from the bottom lane of 100 Thieves. Problem is, this wave is coming back to them, and they decide, you know what? Something just isn't right the way they're walking up right now. So they just back up.
Also
nice E over the wall. Really nicely done. Doesn't have to blow summoner spells. And that's the big thing. That sets up the next play that we're going to see if the replay continues going on this long. And it looks like it will.
Perfect, because look at this. The wraparound from Svenskeren, he just goes right back around.
Yep.
But there's still 3 summoners, key ones for 100 Thieves.
Yes. I mean, you have so much to work with here as Unforgiven, and as soon as you realize who's tanking, it's like, all right, let me just get around the tower, run around as if you are fighting a Graves under turret, and you manage to, sure, get a kill onto Svenskeren, but, I mean, 2 kills to the bot lane of 100 Challengers, and a good amount of gold XP being lost by the Samira. Not worth. I'm going to be real.
Also, this was a nice dive from 100 on the top side, too. Utilizing this young talent to try to see if they can take it against one of the strongest meta top laners in Cassante.
Right, a really nice dive. You force Hanser back. He has to teleport, and oh, what a brutal spot to be in. No teleport, but he's recalling because he knows how much danger he is in. And
also, what can he do? What can he do there? Oh, it's brutal.
He either gets run down, or he knows Yukino should be on that side of the map soon, so he just gets ganked again. So he has to give up some gold and XP, and already so much going well for 100 Thieves.
And 400 Thieves, now we look to see where Pretty can make his impact, because it has been a relatively even mid lane matchup between Pretty and Dox at the moment. But you draft Tilia not for the lane phase inherently. You look for those roams around, especially now that Dox is hit level 6. You're not really going to land those abilities so easily. You have to look to make plays elsewhere.
Agreed. It will be tough, but plays elsewhere is what Talia's best at. So now we just have to see that come to fruition here for Pretty. The moment Svenskeren, really nice avoidance of that pink ward. Oh, Pretty.
Oh, Pretty. Oh, nice flash, though. Nice flash reaction in time. Svenskeren only being level 5. There was no follow-up.
Right, really nicely done. Rocks, though. It's in the area. No flash Talia means, hey, you're looking...
good look for it.
Yeah.
But it's going to fall back instead, going back to the bot lane. Svenskeren grabbing Scuttle Crab. How close are you to level 6? I think, what, one camp away? Not this camp, one after this.
No, I think it's a few. Probably 2 camps.
Is it a few? 2 camps? Okay.
Yeah.
I am never sure on that exactly. It's always just a guesstimate. Because Yukino is getting close to there as well. Probably just needs one more camp, one more farm, or a good kill in the bot lane. Right now, Wild Turtle and Rocks, they find themselves in a pretty bad spot and gives Yukino a lot of opportunity to look for these neutral objectives. The first one being this Chemtech Dragon as Doxa. He's actually the first one to look for the roam, not Pretty.
I mean, Doxa...
Yeah, he shouldn't be able to take... Yeah, he should be able to get out of there. He spots that the objective is being taken, but they're just a little too late to the party.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I call front row seats. You watch the enemy do an objective menacingly, and then you clap and walk away. That's pretty much what we saw just now. And it's that early objective off such insane bot lane prio we're getting on from Unforgiven and Destiny because of what happened earlier. It means you're going to be dragon stacking. Again, this comp from 100 Challengers, we highlighted how they need to be aggressive in this early game. Dragon stacking is a part of that. They want to play for that soul win con, and they want to keep playing for their bottom top lane.
I like this matchup. Like, I think Zed is highly underutilized as a champion, personally.
Agreed.
I think that this is a champion that I wish we'd see more of. It's just people seem to forget that he's actually really powerful. But right now, he doesn't feel powerful because 3 members of TSM Challengers on the top side looking for their own neutral objective play, because the bot lane play, good stuff from 100 Thieves to make sure they can get the first dragon, start scaling up a little bit. They have full control on that half. But Svenskeren has been spending a lot of time on the top quadrant to make sure that Hanser gains a little bit of that foothold back against Sniper.
This is the perfect opportunity. Pretty knows. He's
and Dox is too low, too. If he jumps in, you just throw down the pebbles, the line of mines, and suddenly Dox is like, okay, now I die.
Yeah, no, but the big thing is, like, it's still a lot of respect by Pretty. Because of that, less disciplined mid laner would walk up, try to threaten Dox some more, but recognizes Herald just dropped, Svenskeren's level 6, and there is a big dive threat for whatever lane this Vi comes to, and that's what Svenskeren's looking for. You want to dive, drop Rift Herald, get some early plates. Mid would be nice, but you got a lot of options.
It's the Vi with, let me look, totally remember this and not just look at my other screen, with Gust Walker as the pet.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, and Yukino has the Moss Stomper. Yeah, I totally remembered that off the top of my head.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, look at
I don't have another. Yeah, I don't have another screen right here that also tells me Scorch Claw.
That's nonsense, Magical. Yeah. If you had another screen, you would have it on twitch.tv/Challengers League. So you could watch both games at once, obviously.
Who's to say I'm not doing that, and I already know the results of the first series. The first series, by the way, on the other stream was pretty wild. So make sure if you haven't watched that, you can go back in the tape and watch that, or you can just watch both streams at the same time, because we got lots of hashtag NACL action. Which, if you want, you can also tweet out about it, and maybe your tweet will appear on screen. So right now, yep, there it is. Haha! See, join the conversation, people.
Look at Magical hitting all the reads, hitting all the big points.
I did it.
Caster or something.
I did it.
I'm so proud of you. Good job.
I'm learning. Hey,
you are.
All right, back into this game. Real talk. Let's look at what's happening. Because Svenskeren having the eye. I'm curious what your opinion is on where you want to place this for Svenskeren. Because we talked a lot about the top side of the map and how important that has been for TSM. But with Samira struggling into this lane against Unforgiven, and you really do need the Samira kind of, not fully to snowball, but get a little bit of a snowball rolling.
Need something.
Yeah, at least a kill, right? Or some gold. I mean, maybe that's why all five are starting to, well, four are starting to group around here with the Talia wall, make sure there's no retreat. And that damage on the rocks initially, sure, they get Yukino, but they Ignite Burns to pick up another kill. Unforgiven's a wild. He's still alive, and they were able to skirt danger. Doxa, does he jump back in? The heal onto Unforgiven. Pretty, just chipping at them. It's a 1-for-1 trade, a jungler for a support, but it does deny that Rift Herald play that I was thinking about from TSM Challenger.
Right, and you were kind of hitting on it while you were asking the question, Magical. Bot lane is a really good spot for that Herald to drop because you want to be helping this Samira out. And
okay, wait, this is a wild fight right now. Flash away from Sniper, pulled back in, and Hanser takes down the young rookie.
Very nice. I love the emote at the end. A little show of confidence as you're, as far as anime goes, you're 1,000 years too early to try and solo kill me, young one. But right now, this bot lane play, this was the big option for this Rift Herald. But we're actually going to come back.
Yeah, we got it.
Hanser, we got some more.
He's in danger. No all out this time around. He's got Flash available, trying to dash away. But it is a long way to go. And Pretty is saying, I don't want it. I want farm. You can have him. Take the kill if you can get it, because right now he's kiting away for so long. Sniper has shown up, but the escort crew make sure that he is safe.
Yeah, it's like when you're kicked out of a building or you get fired from an office job. They just escort you out the building. It's like you're on your way out, of course, but they got to make sure they're watching you. And Hanser just gets to get an easy back as a result. And it's probably a big deal for him just because he got some gold back into his pocket. You can see Sniper had a big CS lead going through, a lot of help from Yukino early on. And it means that Hanser needed to get some of it back. And he got his get back, Magical. And that also includes to the tune of some turret plates, courtesy of Svenskeren.
Yeah, getting more gold onto Hanser. He's got that Frostfire Gauntlet already completed compared to the Gore Drinker on Sniper. But on the other side of the map, 100 Thieves are looking to make plays, trade these neutral objectives, trade the bit of plates they pick up. They get themselves their second dragon of the game. They both will escape bot lane and jungle. They'll be fine. They get away with the trade evenly across the map.
Oh, it's the front row seats again, Magical. And the thing is with these kinds of fights, you got to play for one of two things. You go for the steal or you fight after. Unfortunately, TSM, they didn't get the chance to do either, and it means it's been 2 easy dragons so far for 100 Thieves. Easily able to stack things up, and you see it now. Doxa in a more confident position. Roa stacking, almost level 11, can move around with his jungler to set up vision, see if they can catch out Yukino.
Wait a minute. We've seen this one before. We've definitely seen this before. That's going to be Hanser this time, dodging away from the fight. Knowing the shield was there, but he could go back in. He's got the knockback, misses. With the minions also there, decides to fall back, waiting to see if he can bait in for Doxa. But a blue trinket from Sniper. Trying to get a little bit of extra safety, realizing bot lanes were MIA.
Yeah, mid as well, so just to make sure no one's getting the drop on old Sniper. That's what he's trying to make sure of here. And now, worth noting, ultimate available
Still
for Sniper.
And for Hanser, they both have it available. So there's still the possibility that they skirmish. But look, if we go back to the top lane, Svenskeren has shown up. And now Sniper, he's in danger once again. Pulled back in by the Q. Looking for a little bit of showstopper magic, but it was not enough. Hanser and crew make sure they show the rookies a rough time as mid lane. That was a flash in from Rox. This time, it is the rookie looking for the play, but on the other side of the map with Dox getting the flash out of Pretty. A little bit of safety from Destiny. It will be only the top lane kill.
Can we look at the top lane turret real quick? I just want to know how low it is and whether or not Unforgiven will get the first one. They're both going down, but that first bonus gold is what I'm most interested in. Okay, that's a big deal because what I wanted to get into was the fact that Unforgiven, because of all this attention topside, hey, that's well and good for Hansar on this Cassante, but this Zeri is very bad.
Yukino tried to see if he could peek onto Rift Herald. Took a lot of damage, was able to get a lot onto Doxa, but the biggest thing is another neutral objective traded. It's the 2 Rift Heralds for TSM, the 2 Dragons, 400 Thieves. And last time we saw a good charge utilized by Shelly, but this time we need to see if they can utilize this for Wild Turtle. They've got Hansar in a great position. Even if he's slightly slacking in the CS department, he's got a lot of gold under his belt against Sniper. It is Wild Turtle that needs to be brought back into this game against Unforgiven.
Right, and I have a feeling now that we're out of laning phase, we're going to see that that swap of lanes come through very soon, and I think that's where the Herald ends up going. You have top tier 1 down. Hansar is very strong in the 1v1 at this moment with the items and everything he's got going for him. So just rotate Wild Turtle to the mid lane, drop Herald mid, see if you can crack that mid outer turret so you can start setting up deep vision, so you can deny this Dragon Soul, because you can see it. We have an Ocean Soul on the way for 100 Thieves, and their soul point in 2 minutes if they manage to secure it. TSM have to do something about that.
This is where we just got to do a little check-in, you know, talk about how we think the teams are doing with what compositions they've drafted for themselves. Right now, we haven't really seen that much rotation out of 100 Thieves, yet they have gotten a bot lane in a good spot. Would you say that they've essentially gotten their job done without having to have made those early plays so effectively?
You're talking about 100 Thieves side? Yeah, I think so. Because right now, we could just take a look at the gold, because a lot of what Unforgiven's gotten is turret gold and things like that. Look at that. 1,200, basically half an item almost up on Wild Turtle. And I think when it comes to team fight in this position, Unforgiven is set up decently for success here. The only thing you really have to worry about is Hansar, because we talked about it in the last series. Cassante's that champion. He can skip over a lot of the front line here. Oh, wait a minute.
That's the they look for Unforgiven, but there's nobody there to follow up Scared, so he took a lot of damage, and now Yukino, having saved his marksman, put himself in danger. All 5 members of TSM Challenge are in the mid lane, looking to pop down that Shelly. Only 45 seconds until Dragon spawns, but it will be a win across the board for TSM.
Yeah, not as big a win as they might be hoping, but they turn 100 Thieves and their hopes back on its head there. They catch out Unforgiven. You think, oh my god, this guy's trolling, kill him. But Svenskeren flashes out, and the rest of the team managed to jump onto Yukino. But the problem is, health bars were low. People have to back up, and look at what that means. Wave crashing mid, wave stacking bottom, and vision in favor of 100 Thieves in this bottom side. So it's actually going to be hard for TSM to contest this straight. You can see Sven's already going for some clearing of vision.
They're all essentially here outside of Hansar, who's about to have his TP up.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little tough. You don't know where Pretty is.
And Yukino having to dash over the wall. Pretty still hanging out in that brush since it is the Ocean Rift. Spotting out that TSM are now on the Dragon. If 100 Thieves can get this, that puts them point. They have 2 dragons to their name. They aren't really looking for that fight just yet. They realize that Hansar is on his way bot lane. That's why they have to TP, and it's going to be the TP answered 50% on that Dragon. Sniper, he's got the flank. Who does he look for? Trying to pull in, looking for the head breaker. If he can smash those heads, the shield is huge. The fight is 100 Thieves. It's all coming in from Unforgiven. Look at Doxa, though. He wants to get over, but they can chase this down. They've got Yukino on the Dragon. They are chasing Exhaust, onto Wild Turtle. Slowed down by the prowling projectile, and Wild Turtle fed to the wolves.
And 100 Thieves get fed in every conceivable way. They get everything they want to in this fight. Magical, beautiful showstopper from Sniper to be able to set up this fight so beautifully. And at that point, Unforgiven was just completely untouched. And you can see it now, 303 soul point for 100 Thieves. They have everything they need from this early game to close things out, and you can see it in this replay. Look at the teleport in the top right corner there from Sniper. That's the big thing coming through. Set has more damage on his ultimate based on bonus health, so you grab someone kind of beefy like the Nautilus, it's perfect to set everything up.
And he's looking for that Haymaker shield to stack up as well. So once he has it, this huge shield, and it gets a sweep point onto Hanser
True
too.
damage. And it's just beautifully done. At this point, Unforgiven, look at him. He hasn't dropped any health at all until just this moment, and it was already done and dusted here. 100 Thieves in a very commanding position.
Huge lead for Unforgiven. The spot lane out of control. We had focused so much on the top side of the map, and that being a point of power for both teams. Sniper, he had a great flank in that one. Really did set up the fight, but it was on the back of Unforgiven to truly carry that entire fight, and he is the king of the Rift at the moment.
And at this point, like, Zeri's that champion where you're waiting to get the 2 items, and that's where you really start to come online. Well, I have some news for you. 2 items and
ding,
some
ding.
components to boot. So now 100 Thieves, really strong position here. It's not over by any stretch for TSM. Of course, we have the Doomsday Clock that is Doxa on the Kassadin, just like you so aptly put in the previous series, Magical. So Doxa does have... Oh my god, you know what? Maybe we should start talking about Pretty.
Well, the thing is, you know, this is why we highlighted Pretty Celia. Even against Kassadin, someone very mobile, still can land skill shots like that when you really don't think that you should be able to. Okay, but you know...
That sounds... There was some salt in that. I can tell.
Yeah, he always does. I don't know how he does it. Pretty's a great guy, trust me. But I don't know. It's his Talia. There's something evil about it.
It does things to people.
It does. There's something cursed about it. You understand. Anyways, so let's do it. I talked about it. I hinted on the top side of the map and how we were doing check-ins on that. And this game, even if a lot of it is on Unforgiven, 400 Thieves, TSM, they can still rely on a lot of that top side. They can utilize Hanser and Svenskeren. Svenskeren, he is going to be their tool to make sure that Unforgiven is not a factor in these fights. We just need to see that in tandem with both Hanser and Doxa.
That's the thing. It's hard to get on top of this Zeri. And you have to make sure someone like Hanser is going to be able to make space with the Kasante. I'm going to hold that thought, Hanser. A little bit of a situation.
Uh-oh. Okay. Svenskeren went under the turret. Was able to use the Fault Breaker and cease and desist on Sniper. Here's the Weaver's Wall to cut off any retreat. TSM now pinned underneath the turret, and the 2 are locked in behind the wall. Doxa had to TP. He tries to use the flash away. Sniper taking a lot of damage, flashing over the wall. The flash from Rox is not enough as Yukino re-engages, having the Cyclone away is the flash from Svenskeren. Everyone's getting low at the moment. They're now pinned under the turret once more. 100 Thieves look for a dive. A 5v5 dive under tier 1 turrets. Who would have seen it before? And it's still 100 Thieves coming out victorious!
It doesn't get any more disrespectful than that, Magical. Diving on the tier 1. How long was that whole skirmish? How many turret shots came through? I don't know, but I know that's gotta hurt if you're TSM. Now, with the Baron up and a borderline ace coming through, 100 Thieves collect their prize.
They get themselves an easy Baron off that one. No smite. Kasante too low to engage a fight around it. Well played by 100 Thieves, especially when you look at how they juggled the aggro of the turret, because that, I think, was one of the most impressive parts of this entire elongated fight.
Right, and I love it from Sniper. It doesn't do anything until the cease and desist actually comes out, and all this damage coming through. Actually, looking at this, the turret wasn't targeting Sniper at all.
Whoa!
Unless that's some insane visual bug I can't comprehend. Sniper was taking no damage from the turret. It just kept hitting the cannon minion.
Huh. I'd have to review the tape. Yeah, that's kind of crazy too. Like, let's look at this re-engage. I'm trying to see who it's hitting this time. It is hitting Yukino. So that time it was being, and it was hitting someone. And then after that, the turret was too low that they were able to easily execute it.
Right, and Hanser just has to walk away as the Baron ends up being secured. And you can see it, gold up front, gold from the turrets that are surely about to fall. Oh, this is it though. This is the soul. They have to make the play.
And they're all there. Pretty taking a lot of damage. But Svenskeren is the one turned on by Unforgiven. The pull on Yukino with the Cyclone Rox is made into dust as they try to fight back. TSM on the run. Wild Turtle dashing back in. And the Weaver's Wall to cut off the retreat from anybody. Doxa, he's only 15. The Doomsday Clock has yet to reach 0. And one more Rock picks up a rampage.
And these are long spawn timers. The game is over, Magical.
There's a TP into the base.
24 minutes. They're just going to end the game. 100 Thieves. An incredible game one to start things off. And it's just one teleport.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't quite think they have the minions in range to do so. As well, Svenskeren and Rocks both just spawned. So they're going to instead turn for the prize of Ocean Soul. So if we thought these elongated fights were ridiculous before, if 100 Thieves decide, hey, you know what, it's not working out so well, let's back off for a sec, heal up, back into the fight.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, these team fights for TSM just got switched on to God of War difficulty because now it was already hard for them to fight things out Magical, but now they have the Ocean Soul to play with, and it's just brutal. Between that and the healing you get from 2 Drakes and the gold differences we're seeing here, thank you, observers, this is ridiculous. TSM. Yes, Doxa is ticking to 16. Yes, Svenskeren still has a lot of ways to start these fights for starts these fights off for the squad, but it's tough.
It doesn't help when you have a Zeri with 12k gold right now, and the pull back in! Wow, pretty.
Pretty gap.
Pretty gap.
That's all there is to say.
Pretty Talia gap, man. I'm telling you, this guy is insane on this champ.
The Talia player. And it just gets worse. Imagine being a jungler and getting 1v1 by an 80 carry in 2023. Svenskeren says, I don't want any of that.
He's got 3.5 items. I think he can 1v1 anybody at this point. He's so far ahead, even though Haunter gets a little bit of bonus gold for the team. The Baron minions in top lane wailing away at another inhibitor turret so they can take their first inhibitor on that top half of the map. Completely negates what Haunter and Svenskeren were doing elsewhere.
And there it is, just more turret gold coming through. They're just going to transition this to mid lane, open up another.
Stop, Pretty. He keeps landing them.
This isn't fair. He keeps getting away with it. Let them play the game, Pretty. This isn't fair.
Every single time. He cannot miss. And 100 Thieves will take game 1 against TSM Challenger. There go the Nexus turrets. A final fight could be put up, and they just want to pad the KDAs as Unforgiven bounces the wall. But how little damage does he actually take? Nobody can kill him, or can they? Shut down for Wild Turtle. Sniper in the backline, but it's not happening. Everyone else is too fed. Haunter, he tries his damnedest to get away, but the follow-up is real, or is it? He's back at the turret. Spider-Man for Rocks. They look to get the Nexus, or do they? Because they want these kills. They want to look all fancy schmancy, even if they got 2 members that were unkillable killed in the fight.
Wow. Now that's a convincing game from 100 Thieves, Magical. Great from them start to finish, and even though TSM, they had plays, they had windows that they tried to take advantage of, but 100 Thieves are too clean.
I mean, it was great plays. Once you get these leads for these members on 100 Thieves, the bot lane just looked absolutely out of control. Unforgiven, pretty much from the early game, was able to get that kill that made it so that lane was nearly impossible. Top lane, Sniper initially got the upper edge against Haunter, against the storied veteran, but then Haunter battling it back, unfortunately, just wasn't enough because we look at Pretty in that mid lane, slowly farming it up and then landing every single seismic shove.
Right, I mean, it's just a good game all around from the members of 100 Thieves Challengers, and I think it's really exciting to see. I mean, this is a team that we have a lot of expectations for, being with so much young talent, so much anticipated talent as well, as a team that we expect is going to be a contender for the title at the end.
And Sniper Yukino, I want to say, while they had kind of a quiet early game, they didn't necessarily pop off at those moments. Their team fighting was perfect, setting up every single step of the way for Unforgiven to be completely untouched and deal out immense amounts of damage.
Right. I mean, it was just a great look overall from top to bottom there for 100 Thieves. And TSM is back to the drawing board. I think early game for them looked okay, but there's definitely things they need to reconsider going into game 2.
Agreed, and that they will, because we're going to toss a break. When we come back, we'll have Kangas here once more for another halftime show. Make sure you stay tuned.